Hello, this is Nikoline&Ina, and our main topic is prosperity and consumer culture during the post-war period. When World War II ended in 1945, the United States was in better economic condition than any other country in the world. During the post-war period, Americans achieved a high level of prosperity. First of all, there was no serious unemployment, because during the war, the unemployment rate went down. And by the end of the war in 1945, it was only 2.5%, just as this graph shows. During this period, labor unions fought for better wages, reasonable hours, and safer working conditions. It became a movement known as the labor movement. Because of the labor movement, the largest strike wave in US history took place in 1946, also called the Great Strike Wave. Eventually, the labor unions achieved what they set out to do, including higher wages. In the 50s, life was pretty good for the average American. The labor worked less than 40 hours a week, and most received a 2-week vacation. Overall, the American economy grew by 37% during the 50s. And because of the economic growth and the increased incomes, the living standards improved greatly. In the past, many couples couldn't afford to start a family. But as a result of the economic growth in the years after the war, the mood was now more optimistic. This led to the population growth known as the baby boom.
From 1950 to 1960, America's suburban population rose 40 times more than the population in the inner cities. White people moved out of the inner cities and black people came to the inner cities. This picture shows the percentage of African American population living in the American South, and because of the migration, the percentage went down in this period. Overall, 5 million black people migrated from segregation and harsh discrimination in the South to the more open and tolerant society of the North with its industrial workplaces. They mainly migrated to Chicago, New York, and St. Louis, which were some of the biggest industrial cities. For many white people, the American dream became a reality in the 50s. The chance to have a house, a dog, and kids became possible. During this time, many white Americans chose to flee to the suburbs. Therefore, 15 million dwellings were built in the suburbs, and a house could be built within a week. However, some white Americans were not happy about the migration, and some African Americans were still treated with discrimination. At the end of the decade, the median American family had 30% more purchasing power than at the beginning. The suburban life required a car for going to work, which was why 9 out of 10 suburban families had one car and 1 out of 5 had 2 cars in 1960. The car was a mobile status symbol. The bigger and shinier the better, but the safety was not important though. It was a boom in the car production that led to the recognition and acceptance of labor movement. At this time, the demand for entertainment was high as well. Every household had a TV, and by 1949, 250,000 TVs were bought every month. New household products such as the washing machine, the refrigerator, and the dishwasher created the role of housewife for middle-class women. Between 1945 and 1949, Americans purchased 20 million refrigerators and 5.5 million stoves. In general, life was booming in the post-war period. The economy was good, there was no serious unemployment, and consumer goods became available to the middle class. Life had never been so good.